everyone. This is Luca Mino here again with Frank Gregory Ford. This is Global News Update on TLBTV once again, where we give you the complete backstage, up-to-date information on the developments as they occur in our world today. Greg, we have some fascinating stuff to go through today. People disappearing around Hillary Clinton. I love that. Is that the title? Let's start there, shall we? Jesus.
Might as well. I mean, I don't know what has happened to the investigation capabilities of our country. I mean, let's face it, Bill and Hillary are famous, literally famous, for how many, almost 100 people disappearing? Vladimir Putin made the announcement, last night, that he has solid evidence of at least 108 people disappearing. All right. Mm-hmm. Either being murdered or disappearing. Okay. So, I don't really understand, why everybody has such a problem with arresting Bill and Hillary. Sure, they're CIA. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. Sure, they sell drugs. They're some of the largest drug dealers in the world. No question about that. Sure, people have been murdered. Okay. I mean, that's the American way, right? Something like that. Okay, but when it comes right down to it, people keep dying. She's not even running anymore, and they keep dying. What is the deal? Okay, I have never seen so many deaths from natural causes in my whole life. I spent 30 years being in the covert services. And I've never heard nearly the massacre that I'm seeing with Hillary Clinton. I mean. And we're not just talking, people on the street that just happen to, get run over by a car, hit and run. Oh, no, we're talking the senators, okay, like what is it, Hal Lindsey now? And then the last, hour, this was reported. And then the last hour, Senator Lindsey he is now being autopsied. And what is it they say that some sort of poison was introduced into his medication, okay? And they're screening for it right now to get exactly what it was, okay? And, nobody really had to tell me that, yes, he is scheduled to testify against Bill and Hillary. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't figure out anymore what he's going to be testifying or was going to be testifying for, okay, against the Clintons. I mean, white slavery, black slavery, any kind of slavery, no problem. Piece of cake. On the Clinton Foundation ships, no problem. Drugs coming out of Arkansas. Now we've got drugs coming out of Pakistan. Okay, people dying. That's the only time I've ever heard of somebody having their head cut off, sitting in their car, and what did the Arkansas police call it? They called it they knew it looked suspicious, but they said it was a death by misadventure. Mm. What is a death by misadventure?
Sounds like a Hollywood movie. It does. It sounds like a Hollywood movie.
They found, what was it, 4 of Clinton's bodyguards killed in a hotel room, and nobody thought that was unusual. What are they going to call that? Death by Secret Service orgy? Okay, who knows? Yeah, sure. The Bush family has been behind the Clintons forever. Okay, sure they've sponsored them, and sure Donald Trump pulled off the miraculous by defeating their candidate. Yes, Hillary Clinton is a candidate of the Bush family. Okay, sure, that's amazing. Mm. And now they introduce all this stuff about, what is it, pedophilia?
I was just going to suggest Orgy Island. You missed that one.
Oh, well, Orgy Island, sure, no problem. I guess they don't consider forcibly raping 13-year-olds as a crime, okay, in the Clinton camp, okay. But yes, they've got, and the Mossad, supposed to be, the Israeli Secret Service, is supposed to be our allies. Of course, I remember just a few days ago, it was the anniversary of the USS Liberty being attacked and almost sunk, and Israelis shooting U.S. sailors trying to leap off the ship into the water on fire, and they were being killed by the Israelis with machine guns. Okay, well, with allies like that, man, who needs enemies? Okay, so to name a few, and believe me, there. And let me see. I'm confused again. Okay, I get confused a lot nowadays. Okay, now John McCain. Okay, his father was the admiral who helped cover that up. Okay, and then I guess his father helped cover up the fact that no, he wasn't really tortured too badly in that camp, that North Vietnam camp. In fact, everybody that was there with him, Americans, are saying he was cooperating. All right, so I'm a little confused these days. Okay, now, yes. Oh, and by the way, the Forrestal was actually almost sunk. Okay, it's hard to believe the aircraft carrier was almost sunk by the bravado of John McCain. Okay, but nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to admit that. And then the USS Liberty. I have a video of the President Johnson in the Oval Office yelling, I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the sea. What does that mean to everybody in America with these people? You know, you've got one candidate for president that everybody's saying, you know, basically that she's saying that the whole election was robbed, taken from her. But all these cases of slavery, drugs, murder, you name it, they come up and everybody's crying about her. I mean, and then you've got John McCain showing up with Lindsey Graham and Hillary Clinton, and who the main sponsors of ISIS. Okay, $1 billion. What, last week, $1 billion was sent by the U.S. Army, sent to purchase small arms and munitions for ISIS. For ISIS, okay? I mean, what is happening here? Oh, I forgot Joe Lieberman. Joe Lieberman is supposed to be there. Now, what do I hear? They were pushing to have Joe Lieberman made head of the FBI. Oh, that would have been great for everybody. Gosh, any other open positions for Israel to fill? Okay. But then, what is it, a few days ago, okay, I hear, yes, Robert Mueller has been named as the special investigator and possibly special prosecutor in this whole Russia issue with Trump. Robert Mueller, I'm sorry, I'm not that well informed, but isn't Robert Mueller, which I found out after the Phil Marshall investigation, guess what was repressed in the 9/11 Truth Committee investigation? All right, it was Robert Mueller who sat on the whole thing, made sure it didn't go anywhere. That Robert Mueller, the clown we're looking at every single day now, who's considered what is he? Considered a figure of truth and justice and fair-handedness. Well, yes, he sat on and made sure that he and Philip Jellicoe, a real treasonous son of a bitch, okay, the both of those two sons of bitches sat on the investigation for the 9/11 Truth Commission, okay? Yeah, and what happened? And they repressed every single result that showed that the Saudis did it, paid for it, and it was ordered by the Bush crime family and their war hero son, okay, excuse me, their cocaine rehabbed son, George W., okay, and then I find out, oh, surprise, it was Mr. Mueller who sat on the anthrax. You remember when the anthrax scare happened in 9/11?
Yeah.
Guess who covered that up? Guess who completely sat on that whole issue? It was Robert Mueller. Okay, and they've got him investigating now a sitting president a sitting president. This guy, I mean, what is this? The inmates are guarding the prison now? Jeez. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just confused. I get more confused every day. We had a couple of other things we were going to talk about too.
Back channel communications.
Back channel communications. Oh, there we go. What is this? Jared Kushner. Gosh, why am I smelling matzo balls and gefilte fish here? Okay, Jared Kushner, an announced member and supporter of Israel. No problem with that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, but as I've been saying all along, I can smell Israeli, Russian syndicate all over this thing. Okay, gee, imagine Israeli, Russian syndicate. And if anybody knows what that is, it's real simple. Every single person that was in Russia that worked in the intelligence services and former Mossad, they all got together and formed their own little crime cartel. Okay, and it's not little, by the way. It has been running the world for about as long as anybody can remember within the last 20 years. It has come to its full fruition. And guess who also worked for the crime cartel there? Okay, the IRS, as they love to call it. Mm-hmm. The IRS, guess what? It is somebody named William Jefferson Clinton. Remember everybody that he pardoned for a fee? Okay, he gave a criminal pardon. Half of them were all IRS. Okay, I mean, what can you say about this mess? And then we have a president who comes along. His ratings are flat. Okay, he's going to be a one-term president, and he just calls Dad up and tells Dad to order the CIA to set up a disastrous terrorist strike in New York City, 9/11. Okay, and then I find out, gosh, do you know who's backing up the major pharma? Okay, the major pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. It's good old CIA. Okay,
of course.
The CIA is. I'm not. Yeah. Oh yeah. They consider. By the way, they consider all the illicit drugs. Heroin. Cocaine, opium. Those are considered by the CIA as natural resources. Okay, those aren't really doing the damage that everybody says they are. Okay, so and along comes somebody like Gary Webb who reports on it. Well, Gary Webb dies, of course. Okay, 2 shots to the head with a Civil War weapon. Okay, an antique Civil War weapon. Okay, 2 shots to the head. Okay, and then I'm hearing what is this? I heard something about this when I was working in the business. The business. Okay, right, George, right, Mr. Mueller, right, CIA Director, Mr. Brennan. Okay, the business. Got it. Okay. Well, I hear something that they're accusing Jared Kushner of, setting up back channels. Back channels. Oh, okay. So does that mean that we're looking at an intelligence coup now of this country? That's the only term it's ever been used in. Back channels. Okay, that means the top of one group, okay, political head of a country or an intelligence service goes to another group or head of their intelligence services and secretly carries on communications, conversations that delete everyone in those both of those societies, okay, except the top people. All right. And everybody just sits there and says, well, gosh, I guess they could do that. What is this bunch of hand-wringing, weak sister nonsense? I mean, you let these criminals come back, do an investigation like Robert Mueller. I mean, Joe Lieberman, they tried to make him the head of the CIA. Excuse me, not the CIA. They let some mafiosi type, Mike Pompeo. I wouldn't even let him become the head of the CIA because of his last name, Pompeo. Oh, what does that tell you? Okay, so but then I hear, John Brennan, our former CIA director, guess what? He was the guy who stamped all the passports with visas at the Jeddah CIA field station. It was John Brennan. And when a few people stepped forward and said, no, we shouldn't be stamping these things, we shouldn't be letting these people into the United States of America, well, don't worry, okay? That's a little secret John and I have, is that he was stamping them, so those visas, so he could get them to the Pinal Airport in Arizona to get them all trained up to fly the 767s and 757s.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 19 hijackers.
Yeah. Yeah. What is there? No more law enforcement in this country? Well, let's just, if we're going to act like that, let's just go to the Bush family crime cartel and cut a deal with them. Okay. Knock this nonsense off. Everybody's acting like, oh, geez, gosh, this is really new. Real news, okay? Instead of fake news, get that fake news, okay? That's what we ought to do. Let's just go and just surrender the whole thing. Anybody that's a troublemaker, they go to those camps that are already made, okay? The FEMA camps in New Mexico, Arizona, okay? Let's just get all the troublemakers, the mouthy guys like me, okay, that got rendition, strapped to a stretcher, got rendition, and flown out of an active war zone and tortured for a good follow-on treatment. Okay, tortured. Okay, by the way, I don't expect the Supreme Court to do much. Okay, on my case. Okay, it doesn't look good really when one of our agents goes off to the land of terrorism, goes off and actually comes up with some information showing where the first family, the sitting president, actually sold and transported the weapons of mass destruction that we just declared war on a country for. Okay. Yeah. Pre-planned aggression is what they call that. Okay. Well, gosh, they'll come up with some make-believe statement about what I did was maybe wrong, okay, in finding those weapons of mass destruction, about telling the American people that there were weapons of mass destruction, about pointing out that the United States Senate forbid that those weapons be transported when they were produced to be transported to Iraq or anywhere else, okay? I don't understand what happened to the letter of the laws in these cases, okay? There's something called law, I think, still in existence. Right? Am I correct?
I don't think so. I don't think there is. But it's really refreshing, Greg. We don't really have too much more time on this broadcast, but we can certainly bring that stuff up on the 1 hour show. But it's really refreshing because people that really don't, it doesn't smell good to them and they know something's up. It's good for them to hear shows like this because this, it just reaffirms everything that they feel inside without really knowing what the truth is. So it's really refreshing to hear people like you talk like that. And I'm just here to facilitate it because I was one of those, I could feel that the Rothschild event, was 9/11. I could feel all those things. You can tell that our tax dollars are shipped off to Israel while this country collapses and our infrastructure collapses and, the food industry, the big pharma, it's all tied together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about the healthcare. I haven't heard anything, that come out of Washington that even sounded close to it. But now the parties are accusing each other of carrying on in secret about the American people's health care. Are you kidding? What did I say last week, Luca? I said the American people deserve, and they're paying for it already, exactly the kind of health care that our politicians, our, quote, elected politicians.
Right.
Although anymore the term elected really is losing its weight, okay? It's really losing its power. It appears to be whoever is the chosen one.
Put an S in front of there. Put an S in front of elected and you got it.
Yeah. You mean like a dollar sign?
Yeah. Selected.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Selected. Right.
So we'll talk more about this on the Wednesday show, Greg. because
Okay.
we're out of time already. We don't want to make this too long, but we really appreciate your knowledge and your wisdom and your insight into all of this. And we'll see you next time on The Muppet Show, right?
Yep. Well, hey, have everybody write their representatives and say, we want the same health care that you have, elected officials, you sneaky little sons of bitches. Yeah, that's it. You know, tell your lobbyists that everyone in America is going to have exactly what their appointed and elected politicians are using for health care. All right?
There
That
you go.
just settled that problem. It's amazing. All right? So thank you, Luca. We just solved the national health crisis of America. Put it out there. All right?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.